Hey, what's going on? This is Caleb. We are back with another video. This time I have my man Saint with me. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you having me, dog. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. This is my first person that I'm interviewing. I'm on a series where I'm trying to interview people that I see that are doing things that are different, that are interesting, that are trying to impact lives. Like, I have an actor that's coming on soon. I've got him that's a musician who's also into inspiring people, trying to live a different life, trying to talk about their past. I'm interested in these kind of things because I think that a lot of the voices that we hear, man, it's a lot of negativity, especially in this season, in this time. People are depressed out of their minds, man. Like, people are sad, people are depressed, people aren't really in tune with themselves, with their emotions, with love. Like, it's hard for us to even talk about love. And that's actually something I know that's something close to you because you're always talking about this.
I'm telling people I love you all the time. I tell my mans I love them all the time.
And it sounds like you get like flack for that.
Yeah, I do. And it be from women, especially when I like say it to other men. But I feel like that's something we need to hear.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in our culture and all these things that kind of make it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially like in the Black and Hispanic community, especially where our fathers, don't be there. So it's hard for a man to be like, yeah, I love you, because it's like, you didn't grow up with that. So it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel right. It feels more like, all right, I can tell my mom I love her, or my sisters can talk about love, but I don't know about if I can love you like that.
Yeah, and it took me some time to get there. Like, I wasn't always like that. And at some point, if you would have said that to me, it would have threw me off. You know what I mean? And even now, like, I'll say it to people and it would just throw niggas off. Like, all right, cool, love you too, bro.
And I can't lie, even it triggers something even in me at times where I'm like, it's like that initial reaction where I'm like, don't even say that.
Yeah,
like, what are you talking
I feel
about,
you.
man?
But that kind of makes you look at yourself like, what's going on in me that somebody tells me they love me and it just like throws me off? Like, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's some real trauma there.
Exactly. For me, like, growing up, I've told this story a million times. Like, my relationship with my dad, like, I was with my dad, but there was no intimate connection, like, at all.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I'm saying? There was no hugs, no I love you, no I'm proud, none of that.
I hear that a lot in like Latino families, or just like father-son relationships with Latinos. It's like, the love is there, but it's not shown. It's not, you know what I mean? There's no hugs. It's weird, man.
And it's weird because you have to you end up figuring out, like you said, that they actually do love you.
Mm-hmm. It's
just like, it would be so easy to just be like, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of like me, like, or the child, like, trying to figure it out, like 30 years later, like, oh dang, okay, now I see why he it's fine, like, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
But like, also for them, it's hard for them to just say straight up, like, I love you, right?
Yeah,
and so these are like the barriers that, like, I see you attacking, like, even with your own friends, which forget saying I love you to your dad. That's one thing. Yeah. Saying I love you to one of your boys or your homies, that's a whole nother thing, man.
Yeah.
So that's something that I commend you on.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's definitely something that I like lately, especially this past year, bro. Like, me and just my close circle, we've been on that wave, and I just seen how we've motivated each other. Like, when it's cool but when men motivate each other, like me motivating you motivate, it's completely different. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've seen like my friends getting closer to God or spirituality, or just going within, just based off of them seeing me do my thing, and then my other friend doing this thing, like all my friends getting healthy. I just see, like, when men support and motivate each other, it's like, it's a super boost. It's a super, you know what I mean?
And it's crazy and I swear in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to bring this up because I didn't think it had any relevance, but you know what happened with Kobe Bryant, right?
Right.
And I see, and if you look at all the interviews now,
Yeah.
Sometimes you see dudes that were beefing with Kobe. I know it wasn't no real beef, but you know what I mean? Like in that competitive thing, like where there was disdain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course.
I don't like you, you don't like me. You know, there's people he even fought with, you know, on the basketball court. But when you look back and this person's no longer there, you're like, dang, bruh. Like, it wasn't worth it. I could have loved him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I see what you're saying with the men motivating each other. I see now that the men are motivating each other, and these men are saying, you know what? Instead of like having this type of attitude towards each other, we need to lift each other up. Why didn't we honor him when he was alive and all this stuff?
Exactly.
And people that come from what you come from and from what I come from, like, we've got a lot of friends that, you know, kind of perished along the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, I have friends that passed away, and I'm like, man, I wish I had an opportunity to just say something different, to sow a different type of seed in their life. You know what I'm saying?
And I said that in the post, like when a female had commented, like, you telling your friend you love him. And then I had made another post. I'm like, bro, do you know how many of my friends died and I never said like I love you, or just showed them affection, which I'm sure they needed in their life. Like, a lot of them. I got friends in prison that I've never said that to. You know what I mean? Like, who knows, like, what difference it could have made in their lives had, you know, just that barrier not been there, had we just been open with each other like that, you know?
Yeah, and there's actually a friend of mine that got locked up, and, you know, it's crazy because it just shows how selfish I was. Like, a lot of the time we like to reflect back on life and be like, nah, they were fake. Look at these fake friends, man. I can't lie, man. I look back at my own life and I'm like, bruh, I was selfish, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I had a friend that him and his brother were selling coke out of this house. I was selling weed, right? And so they were selling crack too, and I would help them move that too. You know what I'm saying? So it was crack, coke, weed, right? So that house, whatever you needed, like, it was straight.
Shop. We
like,
got
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so one night, you know, and I was at the house all the time, like 24/7, right? One day that joint gets raided, right? And so I had left the night before. I had left and like stashed some weed like in a hidden spot, right?
Yeah.
The whole house gets raided, tore up. When I get there the next day, like, I'm knocking on the door and I'm like, oh snap, something's not right.
Yeah, you know.
So I go in, bruh, and it is completely destroyed. And I'm like, you know, I'm still an idiot, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like going to look for the weed, you know what I'm saying? And the weed that I had was still there, so I'm boosted. I'm like, yes, they got everything except for this, right? But long story short, my friend gets locked up. He was actually set up by somebody else in the neighborhood who was supposedly, they known each other since they were kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was like, really? And so he got set up with an undercover cop or whatever. But long story short, one of the regrets of my kind of transition of like trying to stop living that life, because this all happened around the same time, right, is that he was locked up and I didn't send him one letter. And that's something that I look back and I'm like, sometimes we go through our transformation and we do it alone. And when there's so many people, like, there's a period where you need some alone time.
Yeah.
But once you like wake up, you're like, hold up, there's a whole rack of people I need to like pull with me. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
and so do you feel that type of way?
I feel like that now. And it's crazy that you said that, because, you know, I was in Miami a couple weeks ago, and I just wrote my first letter to a friend in prison. I've never written to anybody that was locked up. I just never really written letters. It's not like it's outdated, obviously. And then you can even text people in prison now. So, but yeah, I wrote a letter. And yeah, like, I hadn't done that in a minute. So yeah, now, and this is actually a friend who we got into some beef. We stopped being friends over dumb petty street stuff. And now it's like, you know, man, I could really help these people. Like, not in like, because obviously they're going to help me just as much as I'm going to help them. But it's like, at least reach out.
Yeah, you're taking your step.
Yeah, at least reach out and just be like, yo, or like, are you good? You know, because everybody's been through their stuff, man. I always try to remember that, like, we've all been through some stuff. Everybody has some level of trauma.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. The people that are like the most jacked up in their life, they probably went through the most, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right, so that was like a very long introduction.
Hey man,
You know
we're just gonna let it flow. Sometimes you gotta go deep. I feel you.
So we're gonna kind of transition into me kind of asking you. You know what I'm saying? Because I talk. Now I'm gonna kind of chill back. I don't know what this Joan is.
That's eternal right there.
Eternal. I'm about to live forever after this Joan.
Hey, that's good water. Only bad thing is it's in plastic. That's why I drink that other one, but that's good water.
It's better than the Coke I had today, huh?
Yeah, nah, I gotta G-check you on that. I had to fill up with the water.
Yeah, that Coke wasn't doing right.
I feel you, man.
That Joan's dangerous. All right. So here we go with the questions, man. All right, so basically, what happened in your life and how did your transformation begin? Because we can clearly all see something. There's a before and an after.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
What happened, bro?
So it was like a 2-part for me. The first thing that happened was, so first I got locked up for like a big charge. I'm talking, I was facing 30 years. You know what I mean? For like I don't want to get into it, but it was something serious. It was a violent crime. That really slowed me down because I've never faced that much time. Then I had my daughter. That slows you way down. You chop that way in half. And then right before I was about to have her, I actually got locked up 2 weeks before I had her. And I always remember like me being in jail, I was cool with it. I had no problem. I always used to say, bro, I could do anything up to a year like that. Like it's nothing. I would say that. When I had her and I got locked, right before I had her, I got locked up. Bro, I was stressing I was in there for like a weekend and I was stressing. I'm like, bro, my daughter's gonna be born. I'm gonna not see her be born. I'm gonna be locked up. Like, I'm gonna be that guy. That really slowed me down. And then after that, like after you have a child, like, man, your whole perception of everything just changes. And I don't want to sound cheesy. Like, bro, I cried when I saw her born. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it. It was just a weird experience. That really slowed me down.
Let me stop you there a little bit because there's a lot of guys that get girls pregnant, and if they can check out, bruh, they're gone. Why do you think you didn't lean that way? Because that's weird, bruh. I know it's not weird to me, right?
Yeah.
But if you were talking to me 10 years ago, and you told me, bro, you were worried that you were going to be in jail just because you weren't going to see your kid, I wouldn't have been able to make the connection. I would have been like, man, I could see you worried because you don't have your freedom, but because you're not going to see your kid, nah, you good, man.
Right. Nah, things change, man. But, I didn't have a father. I just reconnected with my father like last year in Colombia, and we hadn't talked in like 8 years for real. And he lived down the street from us in Colombia. I could never do that, man. I don't know, man. Like, and trust me, my situation where I'm in, if I left, I'd be justified. I'd be like, bruh, I really do everything I can, you know what I'm saying? But I just can't do it, man. At the end of the day, I know how significant I am in her life. If I was to dip, her life would be in shambles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. That's selfish. I can't even respect my father after I had a child. I mean, I understand it, but it's just like, bruh, like, it's no excuse, bruh. It's just no excuse. So yeah, that's why I could never do nothing like that. But yeah, to finish the other question. So yeah, after I had a child, I went through some processes with like the friends that I was with in the street where like we just were not clicking. And I think it's because when I had a child, like it's like my perception of things changed. So I was no longer living and thinking the way they were. Now I was looking at things differently. And they were just on some really wild stuff. And yeah, I just got into it with them, and I just ended up like alone, man. Like I was beefing with my baby moms. I was beefing with my friends. I was really alone. And then around this time, like they discontinued Actavis, which is like this cough syrup, but it's really strong. So I was like going through like withdrawals because I used to really I used to drink it all the time. I was going through like withdrawals. I got real suicidal, bro. Like, I'm talking about, I got so suicidal, I sold my guns. Like, that's, like, I didn't want to be around them, because it was times where I'd be in the house, I'd be playing with them joints. You know what I mean? It was just a real dark period, man. Like, really dark. But in that moment, that's what pushed me inward. Like, I remember I was so depressed, bro. I was so depressed and just out of it. I Googled, how do I get out of depression? I Googled that, bruh. And like, people, and then I saw a bunch of stuff. It was like, oh, get into spirituality, and then I just got from there. And I stumbled over so much stuff, man. I went to the dark side. Then I went to the, you know how it is. You dabble. You try to, so yeah, that's what really pushed me to, like, push my transformation, was in that period where it was just me on my own, by myself, no drugs, no money, because I wasn't out there no more. I gotta take care of my kid or figure out something to get a job. So yeah, it was like the old me was dying.
Yeah, I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking like the rebirth was just slowly, right? Like,
that's a real thing. It's called the Dark Night of the Soul, and there's been like people that have written about that. It's a process that you go through where you actually feel like you're dying, like the old you is dying, so something else could be born. And the Bible talks about that too. You're just like dying to yourself and being born in Christ. It's the same thing, same process. But yeah, that's what did the whole transformation, was just rock bottom, man.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because I lived in that darkness too, bro. And I know exactly what you're talking about. But we're gonna keep it moving then. Okay, so look, man, you've gone through the process. And you are absolutely still going through the process, because we're all gonna forever be going through the process. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So you posted something the other day where you said something like, I wish that everything was as good as it looks. You know what I'm saying? Something to that effect. You know what I'm saying? And so how do you overcome when life throws something destructive your way?
I'm still figuring it out. For real, I wish I could tell you, like, I do be overcoming it. Like, I know you talking about the post with the Joker.
I think it was something like that.
Yeah, and it was just to say like it looks like people see me and they think I'm very happy and just positive, and but bro, I be going through it. And I be wilding and I be having my stuff, but nobody shares that, and I be having to let people know. And honestly, I don't have like a sure way I get through it. Sometimes I'll just wild out, and I might go out, drink. I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. I might smoke. I might link up with a shorty. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still in that process, but I'm aware of myself, and I know afterwards I realize the effects of that, and clearly that doesn't help. But I'm still in that in between phase where it's like, you're letting stuff go slowly, but it still's got to pull on you. So I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, bro. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm straight up, man.
That is good, man.
So yeah, like, I'm just working on it, man. But
so what are some things that I guess, because I know for a fact that every single time something comes up, you don't just go for it. So for sure. So what makes you, like, in those moments where you do overcome, why do you think it's so hard to not overcome? You know what I'm saying?
Man, because it's easy. It's easy to it's easy to fall into your old habits. It's easy to just, and it's crazy because there's this doctor I be listening to, and he be saying like when you, those emotional triggers, like, you put yourself in that same state of mind, those negative thoughts, because your body actually releases a chemical and gets something out of that, like a pleasure out of bringing more pain on yourself.
Then it's a little too deep, right?
Yeah, but now I mean, like, I honestly, man, I just I don't know, I just do what I can, man. Sometimes I'm on some real pop. Sometimes I'm going through something, I might break down and just start praying, meditating right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I can never tell anybody like, oh, this is the sure way of doing this. You have to find what's right for you. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. All right. Here we're going to kind of take it back a little bit. Kind of something we were talking about. What's a situation that you were in that you weren't sure that you were going to make it out safe or alive?
That joint where I was facing 30 years, bro. I was tight. Well, yeah, that's the only moment where I was really scared. I've been shot at. I've watched bullets fly past me, and I just. Whew. But that, bro, being locked in a cage for 30 years, bro, I'd rather die. I would have requested the death penalty over sitting in a box 30 years. That definitely was scary. Yeah,
that joint's wild. I visited a couple prisons while I was in Texas.
Yeah.
And yeah, that life is and I visited prisons in Colombia and Texas.
Colombia, South America?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, you was wilding. You was in the trenches.
And we were in Quibdó. Quibdó is the most
I'm hip.
Poor area.
I'm hip to that joint.
We was in the jail in that joint. That joint.
Yeah, nah,
was
that joint savage.
Crazy. Yeah. Don't forget a cell. They living in a community.
Just standing up. Yeah.
And your bed, you got about 6 of y'all, or 3, 4, 5 of y'all stacked up.
Right. If you
on
get
little
a bed.
bunk bed joints. Yeah, exactly.
Nah, cause it be dudes on the floor. I've seen the videos from them joints. God forbid.
Yeah, so we were in that joint.
Yeah.
I was in a couple in the Houston area, man, and yeah, that's not the look, man, and I just feel bad for so many people that uselessly go there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People that you just had no business. You know what I'm saying? Like doing what you're doing, and sometimes you just doing some dumb stuff, and you might not even been the main one, and you get caught up, and you gonna get the same thing as this dude. You know what I'm saying? Just for being a hot boy.
Yeah.
And so I look at stuff like that, and it just like it kind of throws me off because, as we've grown and matured, and I'm like, that's what I thought was dope. Like that's the life I aspire to. Like that's what I wanted so badly to be.
Right.
I'm like, for what?
Right.
Like, and it's crazy that like our youth, like that's what they look up to, and I'm like, nah, bruh. Like your freedom is what you need to look up to. You know what I'm saying?
Like, trust me, freedom is cooler than anything you're gonna get off of trapping. Believe me.
You want to be dope? Like, just be free. You know what I'm saying?
Man, exactly.
All right, let's keep going. So we're kind of in the same world here. What would you say to the younger you in his worst moment? So whatever you got hemmed up doing, right?
Yeah.
Right before you were about to do that, what would you have told yourself?
Nah, see, I wouldn't have said nothing.
Let him go through it.
I would have let him go through it because if I would have stopped myself, it wouldn't have slowed me down. If I would have changed anything about my life, I would not be where I'm at. And I could truly say that. Even the rock bottoms, I would not be here. That was the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I just watch him do it over again.
Dang.
Go harder, bruh. Yeah. For real. Go harder.
Learn faster.
Yeah, learn faster.
Yeah, that's a crazy perspective. That's a really dope perspective because that's I say the same thing. I'm like, I look back at the pains and I'm like, I was telling Janet, even my wife, about her own life, and she was conceived from rape. Like her mom was raped, and then she comes from this, right?
Right.
And like from the perspective of society, it's like, dang, like, bro, like there's no purpose there. You know what I'm saying? Like there ain't no real purpose there. Like you could do an abortion, do whatever you gotta do, put it up for adoption. There ain't no purpose in that.
Yeah.
And then I reflected and I'm like, dang, bro, like I told Janet, look, I'm older than you, right? So whole time God made me, right? And then like down the line, he was like, "Oh, look at this situation. Like, I'm about to put this woman,
nah, for real,
to help you and to somebody that can relate through all the stuff you went through. I'm about to plant her right now.
Yeah.
And so I can't look at any situation I've ever been through and be like, nah, that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Like, it was like, nah, that should have happened.
Exactly.
Because that has made me who I am, and given me my wife, who then gave me my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
So that's exactly right, man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
what's up.
Yeah. No regrets. No regrets.
All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. We're almost at 30 minutes, which is perfect. If you had the entire world's attention, what would your message be? You don't gotta be super deep, but what would you tell the whole world, man?
Honestly, man, I would tell the world to just search, man, just seek. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what you're into, but just be seeking. I don't care what religion, what belief, as long as you're seeking something bigger than yourself or more than yourself, that's cool, man. Even if you a young kid out here wilding, you know what I'm saying? As long as you seeking, God will find you, or whatever you want to call it, source, higher, you know what I'm saying? Like, just keep seeking, man. Just keep elevating yourself. Don't get comfortable or feel like where you at is where you at is where you're meant to be, but know that there's more for you. This just a process.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And that's how, man, people be trying to make it very complicated, man. Like, people try to make it real complicated. And I've kind of told you, like, bro, I was into every religion you could probably think about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the one thing that I honestly, deeply inside wanted to know was the truth. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like, I like the way that the Hindus meditate. I like the way the Buddhists meditate. I'm just gonna be here. I was never satisfied. Like, it's like, nah, I want to keep going deeper. And I'm learning things today that 5 years ago I was like, I probably would have been like, nah, I ain't gonna never go down that. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm just like, but you know what? My heart truly is to just know the truth, right? Like, that's all I care about.
That's all there is.
Yeah,
like, that's why we're here. Like, everybody's searching for something and they don't know what they're searching for, but that's what they're searching for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever path you choose to take, it is what it is. I got friends that are Satanists. It is what it is. They will find their truth when they, you know what I mean? When they die or whatever, or when they get to where they need to be, they will get to their truth. You know what I mean? Whatever your path is, as long as you're seeking, the truth will find you.
We're all gonna figure it out at some point.
At some point, yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you.
Nah, man, thank you for having me, bro. I wouldn't have wanted nobody else to do this but you. It's my first interview, like, for real, on talking about stuff like this.
That's what's up. I appreciate the trust, man. This is somebody that is close to me, and this is somebody that is close to somebody that I love dearly. And so this person to me is like family. So, you know, this is a family thing. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. God willing, we will continue linking up and putting more out to y'all. So God bless you. The Creator bless you. Like he said, whatever you want to call it, as long as it's the truth, we're good with that.
That's right.